In San Francisco, we've got some established brains at the table. We don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they know what they're going to do. Let's hear a little bit from earlier today, General Manager John Lynch, Head Coach Kyle Shanahan, on the third overall pick in the draft that they acquired via trade several weeks ago.
Everyone has, in your contract, you do this. The draft is mine. But I told Kyle from the beginning that he and I are doing this together. And when it comes to quarterbacks, I'd be foolish, I believe. We have a head coach who's also our offensive play caller. I will always defer to him. And, what's cool about that is that Kyle, I think, respects my opinion enough. He always wants it. And ultimately, we arrive at decisions. We will. And come Thursday, we'll have a pick that hopefully makes everyone proud, but that will be judged in years to come.
We knew that there was 3 at the time exactly. That's why we thought 3 was a good spot to go to. After going through this whole process, I feel good about 5 guys at 3. We had a guy probably at first back then, but we knew that wasn't set in stone. Yeah, we probably started with 1 in mind, but that one's gotten better since, and so have all the other candidates. So do we know exactly who we want? Maybe, probably, but maybe not. I don't feel like we need to say that, and that's not just for our case, but lots of stuff happens between now and the draft, and you don't want the whole league knowing exactly what you're set on 4 days before the draft.
Peter, I understand everything they're saying, but I am confounded, perplexed, and flummoxed by the reality that this team packaged the 12th overall pick, 2 future first-rounders, third-round pick to go up into a spot where they apparently didn't know what they were going to do. 3 days before the draft, they don't seem to know what they're going to do. The benefit is they're getting plenty of attention. We're going to talk about the 49ers continuously for the next 3 days. But at some point, you look wishy-washy, you look hesitant, you look like you moved up to 3 before you really had a plan. Like maybe they thought the Panthers were going to make the jump instead, so they figured we better do it or we're going to lose the chance. We'll figure out later who we're going to take. I really am surprised that they're pushing back so hard against the logical conclusion that they had 1 guy in mind when they moved up there. They're trying to create the impression they had 5 guys in mind.
Well, I would disagree with you and say this, that in my opinion, I think they made this trade exactly 1 month before the first round. They made it on March 29th. And I believe that at that time, Kyle Shanahan had a very good idea who he wanted to pick with that pick in the draft. But he said, hey, look, I am going to do my due diligence on the other 2 quarterbacks in this draft, and I am going to give it a fair run. And he's gone to the pro day for Trey Lance. He's gone to the pro day for Justin Fields, the second one of each. And so what he has done is he has done exactly what John Lynch and Adam Peters and Jed York and Parag Marathe, the brain trust of the 49ers, he has done what they wanted him to do, which is to be fair. This is a gigantic decision that's going to affect all of our lives and all of our jobs. So Kyle Shanahan has done that. Has he changed his mind from March 29? I don't know. We'll find out on Thursday night. But the other thing is, I believe they know what they're doing. I believe they know who they're going to pick. And they might go through a few more meetings to just say, hey, are we sure? But I would be very surprised if right now they don't know who they're going to pick.
Do you believe that there was any type of fracture, any type of split of opinion where some in the organization wanted to go one way, like with a Trey Lance? We're hearing bits and pieces of that now. Shanahan, always Mac Jones. Others like John Lynch and Adam Peters pushing Trey Lance. Do you believe, do you know, have you heard, do you sense that some of that went on before they got to where they are?
I've heard that, Mike, but I don't know if it's true. And, again, I think I'm probably hearing what other people are hearing. One person who knows people in that organization told me that he thought it was 60-40 Mac Jones. And if that's the case, then, and again, Mike, I don't know if that is true. This is just what one person who's got some tentacles in that organization told me. So I don't feel great about it, but I think it's interesting and could well be true. But I guess I would make this point to you, okay? It is exactly the same thing that I saw in 2017 when I was in their draft room and I saw Kyle Shanahan. He wanted a young running back named Joe Williams. And Joe Williams wasn't on their draft board because of off-field problems. And he told John Lynch before day 3 of the draft, I really want Joe Williams. Lynch looked at it again. He called Joe Williams. He talked to him. And the whole thing is, John said to Kyle, you got Joe Williams. We're going to draft him. You hear what he said in that clip 2 minutes ago, where he said, listen, my offensive play caller should have a big role in determining who's going to be calling his offensive play, who he's going to be calling his offensive plays into. And it was the same thing with Joe Williams. And so to me, I believe at the end of the day, unless it's 5 against 1, where the only person who likes, Mac Jones is Kyle Shanahan. And again, I'm not positive that Kyle Shanahan hasn't changed his mind. I don't know whether he has. My feeling is that he probably hasn't, but I don't know that. The 49ers have done a very good job in keeping a lid on this. I think they're going to take Mac Jones. I will not be surprised if they take somebody else.
I was on KNBR today, the 49ers flagship, and we were hashing out how we got here and where we go from here. And Peter, I think there's a rabbit hole that's been not completely explored as to what happened in 2017 when Kyle Shanahan was convinced he was getting Kirk Cousins in free agency in early 2018, and then boom, they trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. John Lynch says that Kyle was in mourning with a U after that happened. I'd love to know how they convinced Kyle to sign off on the Garoppolo trade when he knew, when he believed, when he thought he was getting Kirk Cousins without having to give up a draft pick a few months later, and whether or not that same process is going on here. Shanahan's in charge, but I almost feel like there are forces in that organization that know how to let Shanahan come to a decision on his own that is influenced by others who are trying to get him to do something other than what he wants to do, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Well, the reason why I believe that the Garoppolo Cousins thing was the bird in the hand is better, than whatever that stupid cliche is. But the reason why I think they did that at the time then is that they were high on Garoppolo also, as Belichick was, and they were close to Belichick and all that. And there was no guarantee they were getting Kirk Cousins. They might get him, but there was no guarantee that they would get him. So I think that was exceedingly logical back in 2017, what they did. And then, Mike, in this particular case, I just think if you trust Kyle Shanahan to coach your quarterback and to bring your quarterback along, and look, the last 2 seasons, he has had one quarterback for the full season who he wanted. One was, Matt Ryan, his last year in Atlanta, where they obviously went to the Super Bowl and almost won it. And then the other one was in 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo, where they got a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. And so in both cases, Kyle Shanahan coached a quarterback to probably beyond what most people thought that quarterback would ever accomplish. And that is why, if you are the 49ers, in my opinion, if Kyle Shanahan is rock solid in the corner of Mac Jones, you pick him. And if he's rock solid in the corner of either of the other guys, I think you pick him too.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.